This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Katharina Thanderz over Zoom. Katie, as you're better known, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. What about you?
I'm good, thank you. It's good to hear you're doing well yourself. Now, we briefly spoke off camera there. What's life like in Spain, where you currently are?
Well, now it's starting to get quite normal again. So we're back to the gym, back to normal life, and yeah, training twice a day and with nice weather, and yeah, that's good.
How did you find lockdown?
Lockdown was a little bit more difficult. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, the lockdown was a little bit more difficult because it was really strict. But I trained at home every day. My coach was also coming to my house, so we were training in my garden, and it went okay. I mean, yeah, we just had to train on a smaller place, but we managed to do that, and yeah, very good. But it's really nice to be back to the gym.
I was going to ask, when did you get back into training, like being able to go back to a gym?
Well, professional athletes here in Spain were able to go back 1st of May.
How different and difficult was it to kind of adapt to needing to train at home, not being able to go to the gym and see everybody every day? How different and difficult was that to adapt to?
Well, luckily, I was quite positive. But my house looked like a gym more or less during 2 months. So I took away the table in the garden, I took away all the chairs, and I mainly just used it like a gym, and I had like a boxing bag as well. And I think the main difference was that I was not able to train with other people, so it was just me with my coach. And I think I was quite lucky to have at least my coach. So we did a lot of pad work, and yeah, we trained on things that we need to improve, and it was a good time to do things that we normally don't do. So yeah, I managed to look at the bright side on the situation.
It's nice to hear somebody being positive in and amongst all of the chaos and the madness that the world is experiencing at the minute. But as I mentioned to you off camera, Katie, as it's your first time with us, I want to kind of reflect over your career and your amateur life and your route into boxing. So, Katie, what's your earliest memory of boxing?
Well, I started in 2007 with kickboxing. And yeah, I had like a kickboxing career until 2012, and that was the year where I did my first amateur boxing fights. And I had a very, very short amateur career in boxing, so I only did 8 fights, and then I turned professional in 2016.
So what made you swap from kickboxing to boxing?
I think already when I was doing kickboxing, I had more like a boxing style. So I used to win my fight with my fists, and I just felt very comfortable with the boxing. And then I got to know my current boxing coach in 2010. And I already started training boxing, even though I was not fighting in proper boxing. I was training boxing, and I got a very good connection with him, and he's still my trainer today. And it just felt like very natural to go over to boxing, and I also felt more comfortable with my style, I think. Yeah.
I was going to ask, was it easy to adapt from not needing to use your legs and your feet as much as the way you would in kickboxing, to just focus on your hands in boxing?
No, but what was difficult for me, because I used to fight in professional kickboxing, so I fought with thin gloves without a headgear. So it was very difficult for me to adapt to the amateur again, you know, wearing headgear and really big gloves. And also, I don't know, the way of getting the points in amateur boxing was a little bit strange for me. So yeah, I think my style adapted a lot better in the professional boxing. So that was a big change, you know, suddenly having to wear like the headgear again and don't see anything and fighting only three or four rounds. That was very strange, because I kind of wake up in the fourth round. So the fights were like, they went really quick, and yeah.
Now, I used to do kickboxing myself, so I can imagine how difficult you may have found it just switching over to boxing. But moving on to your amateur boxing career, you mentioned you only had 8 fights. What made you have such a short amateur career?
Well, yeah, it's quite simple. It's because I live in Spain, and I have lived in Spain many years of my life, but I don't have the Spanish nationality, so I was not able to be part of the Spanish team, and I only got the opportunity to fight about twice a year. It was really difficult to get fights because, you know, I couldn't even participate in the Spanish championships. So that was actually the reason why I convinced my coach to go over to the professional game, because I wasn't really developing in the amateurs, and I didn't really enjoy the amateur style either. So yeah, even if, I mean, I could wish I had more fights in amateur, of course, but I just didn't get the fights. So then at one point it was, or I continue in amateur and I fight twice a year, or I take the step to the professionals and I can maybe do some more fights. And I started having more fights in professional than in amateur.
Okay, one thing which I never actually asked you at the beginning was, why did you decide to move from Norway to Spain?
Well, I came here the first time when I was 3 years old, and it was also the country where my father was brought up. So actually, I speak Spanish with my father, and Norwegian with my mother.
Also, just to move back to your boxing career, then let's go through your professional career. Obviously, 13-0 now. How have you found your journey so far?
Oh well, amazing. Yeah, I've enjoyed it since day one, and it's just, you know, I don't know, it's the thing that I like the most to do. So, you know, for me, it's not even a hard work. I go to the gym every day really happy, and I just enjoy a lot fighting and training hard, and it's my life. So yeah, and being able to focus now on boxing is something that is amazing and great. Yeah.
Women's boxing at the minute in particular, it's booming. There's a lot more support for it now. When you started out, was it easy or difficult to get fights? Was there as much support for you when you first starting out as a professional as what you would have today?
No, it was really difficult. Yeah, I had like a full-time job. I worked a lot, so I had to wake up really early in the morning, do my first training session. Then I went to my work. I could spend 8-9 hours in my work, and then I went to the gym again. And yeah, it was really exhausting. But I had this inner drive in myself that gave me the force to keep going on, and just believing in myself and my team. And yeah, 2 years ago I was able to quit my job, and of course now it's a little bit more easy. It's still difficult, but at least I can focus on training twice a day without having to go to an ordinary job. So, you know, that's a big step ahead.
Tell me about signing with the Sauerlands, Katie. What was that like? How much of a relief was that like for yourself?
Well, I looked at this. I looked at it as a really good opportunity for me. I fought on Sauerland card in Norway in March 2019, and there I think they saw me for the first time. And then I got the opportunity to sign a contract with them, and I thought that it was a very good opportunity for me because they have, you know, a lot of experience also within female boxing, and you know, they organize their shows, you know, in different countries of Europe. So for me, it was a really good and positive thing in my career.
Now, obviously, last time out, you defeated Danila Ramos for the interim WBC super featherweight title. Reflect on that victory for me, Katie.
Yeah, well, it was a hard fight. More than hard, it was a very intense fight because, you know, it was like a war from from round 1 to round 10. Also in the last round, I got a huge cut in my head, so, you know, it ended up being a really bloody battle. But I enjoyed it. I felt that I did have the clear shots during the whole fight. I think she threw many more punches than what I did, but I don't think she was that effective. She threw a lot of punches, you know, to the air, to my guard, but, you know, she just kept on from the start to the end. So it was a very intense and physical fight, but I enjoyed it. You know, it was in my hometown in Oslo with all my people, with my family, with my friends, so, you know, the feeling was just amazing.
Now, I've seen that you was in the UK, that is, for Terry Harper's victory over Eva Wallström. What did you make of Terry's victory? Because I know it's a fight that you'd like to have in the near future.
Well, I don't know. Well, I helped Eva Wallström actually in her preparation in Finland, so I got to spar like 2 weeks with her. And I have to say that, well, I think it was a close fight. I think it was a very close fight, not as the scorecards showed. I think Terry Harper was maybe better in the second half of the fight, but I think Eva Wallström did a very smart and intelligent game plan. But yeah, I think Terry Harper was maybe a little bit stronger in the second part of the fight. So, you know, she got the win in the end, and now she's the current champion. And yeah, that's absolutely the fight that I would like to have. I hope that I can get it as soon as possible. And I think it would be also a very interesting fight for the boxing fans. So, and, you know, her being the current champion and me being the interim champion, I also think that it makes sense that we get to fight with each other. So yeah, I'm looking forward for that day.
Stylistically, how do you think yourself and Terry would get on? Do you think you'd have styles that would gel, or do you think your styles would clash in the ring?
Sorry?
Stylistically, do you think your style and Terry's style would work well together in the ring, or do you think it would clash?
No, actually, I think it would be a nice fight to see. Like, for instance, the fight that I had with Danila was a little bit complicated because she's the type of fighter that doesn't really let you box. So she's on you all the time, and even if she's not hurting you, she's like very annoying with her style. But I think both Terry Harper and me, I think we would let each other box. So I think it would be a nice fight. Yeah.
One fight that may well happen before you get that chance is Terry Harper versus Tasha Jonas. That fight was
Yeah.
agreed before lockdown. There's still talks ongoing there, but is it expected to still happen behind closed doors? If it does happen, what are your thoughts on Terry Harper versus Tasha Jonas?
I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think Natasha Jonas is a great fighter. She has a large amateur career. So I think that Terry Harper should really not underestimate her. And if she comes back, as we've seen her in other fights, I think she can be quite dangerous. So, but of course, Terry Harper is also a very good fighter. She's strong. She knows what she wants. She's hungry. She's young. So she also has a lot of things on her side. But I think absolutely it could go either way. It depends on what happens that specific day when they meet each other. Yeah.
Katie, before I let you go to enjoy the rest of your day, what would you like to say to everyone who tunes in to watch our interview?
Sorry, I didn't hear you now.
Before I let you go to enjoy the rest of your day, what would you like to say to everyone who tunes in to watch our interview?
Well, yeah, I would just want to thank everyone for watching it, and I hope to see you soon, maybe in the UK when I meet Terry Harper. And thank you for the interview.
Katie, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Stay safe, and I'll hopefully see you in person to do an interview soon. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.